Antonio showed up last week. Do you think part of that is, he didn't have training camp and off-season work, that he's now starting to kind of, obviously he's comfortable in the offense. But just,
You know what? That's probably a question that would come up, and I don't quite know how to answer that. He's worked well in the games earlier in the year. He's made a couple of plays. Things just haven't gone to him, but it sure was nice to see the way he responded in that game. It was he played really well.
Are they defending him differently than they did in years past? I mean, years past, people bracketed him, and that's just what he was going to see, and obviously he's a different player.
Well, he's been bracketed this year as well.
Really?
Yeah, he has. A couple times. Different teams do it. I mean, especially in the red zone, people do it. We've had that discussion ourselves about are they going to do that, and I can't say it's probably as much, obviously, as they used to do it, but they have done it this year.
He said yesterday that it's not natural for him to kind of accept a diminished role, but he's kind of done it just for the good of the team. How have you seen him just react to the fact that he's not a top option anymore, not the number one guy?
Well, he handles it with class. I mean, one of the things about Antonio that I think we all appreciate the most is what a leader he is. I mean, he really does a great job with these young guys of talking to them and mentoring them, and I think that's part of it. And I think, the biggest thing is we got a lot of good guys. So, and he's seen a lot of these guys like Keenan and Melvin grow up, and now he's seen these guys play well. So I'm sure, he's invested in that as well, which is really neat. But he's been great. I mean, I understand it. He's very competitive, and he's one of the best tight ends to ever play this game. And when you're not doing it every snap, it's tough. But I think he is realistic enough to understand too. He probably couldn't take every snap right now. So it's been great having him, and it was, I think we were all really excited to see some of the things he did last week.
Are you getting to the point in the season now where you pay close attention to Melvin's touches?
No, not really.
Okay.
Not really. I think that, it's, you mean as far as not wearing him down?
Yes.
Are you asking me? No. The thing about Melvin is, gosh, I remember even last year and even back in 2016, he got a lot of carries, and he was just like, he got stronger and stronger as they went. And obviously, you don't want to give him too many. I think some of it's good because Austin has been able to come in there and help with that. And, that's made a little bit of a difference, but not really. As long as he's healthy, which he's been, and running, he seems to get stronger as the game goes on, and boy, he's doing a great job.
Does it help that all of his touches aren't, runs up the middle? He's getting out in space, and he's not necessarily getting hit maybe as much.
Well, I mean,
I guess
he gets hit in
quite a
space, but I think that's a good point. I would say that that's probably part of it. There are times in space where he doesn't get the hits like he does in line, or he's getting multiple hits like he is when he's carrying the football. So does that help? I don't know. Maybe. He had a lot of carries last year, and he was very durable. So I think it's credit to him and the way he works in the offseason and preparing for it. And, he's just a tremendous competitor.
Philip audible to the screen there, obviously saw it and it didn't work out, and the play is what it is. In those situations, Philip's so good at doing all that stuff. At some point, what's the balance there to maybe giving him too much versus dialing back in those critical situations, or you just want to let him go?
You talking about which one? You talking about
late in the game, 3rd and 7, he threw it in the dirt.
That one at the end of the game? Yeah. Well, no, we had a check on that particular play to go to it. Whenever you're in that situation, you got to go based off of what you think you're potentially going to see. Sometimes you get it right, sometimes you don't get it right. Obviously they didn't do what we anticipated they were doing. It wasn't good. And, I think the natural inclination in that is to just make sure that you get it in the ground. But in that particular situation, that's a different thing. It just happened. I think he does a great job of managing those. And, whenever something like that happens, you have a tendency to focus on that, and then you don't think about some of the plays that were tremendous that were made. Those are overlooked because they're not talked about. So when you talk about a balance between those things, he's a tremendous player. And one of the best in the league, and makes great decisions. But sometimes things are not going to go exactly the way you want. So I don't keep going. It's not a big deal. You understand it, and we keep going. And I think we've had a really good balance of those plays and how we've been able to get into things and get out of things. And we don't just because we had one that didn't quite work out the way we wanted to, you move on.
Joe Barksdale and Sam Tevye they were pretty close in snaps last week. How has that been difficult, kind of choosing which drives one is going to play, and can you sustain that? Do you feel comfortable just with both those guys playing split snaps?
I mean, we've had, some of it has been a little bit injury as what has been affecting that.
With Joe, you mean?
With Joe and with Tevye, and with Sam a little bit. So, it is going to be what it is. I think that they're both good players. Sam has come on as a young player, and Joe was playing well before he got hurt. So I think there's going to be a mix. You can't say that it's going to be almost an even split like it was last week, but both of those guys have played well for us.